Take me back to that draft night. What were you, 17 years of age back then?
Yeah, I was 17. First of all, Dan, I appreciate you having me back. It's always good to see you and talk to you. But it was a pretty amazing night. Obviously, back then the rules were a lot different from perspective. Once you made yourself eligible, it was no time period where you can go through your draft process. It was, hey, you commit, you make yourself eligible for the draft. You forfeit your college eligibility, and it was nerve wracking, obviously, as a 17-year-old and not really knowing what the process is, but I was truly blessed to have a guy named Aaron Tellum, who was my agent, and Sonny Vaccaro, who went through the process with me and helped educate me about the process that I was about to go into.
Okay, but 17 on the road.
Right. So, Dan, listen, I got to say this. The Portland Trail Blazers did an amazing job on being prepared for a 17-year-old.
Okay.
And all of my teammates, they made sure that they did things with me on the road that made sense for my age, and they were prepared for me to get there.
How did they prepare you? Because there's a lot of things that can go wrong on the road, no matter how old you are.
100%, though. I think a lot of it is, honestly, I stuck with the core values of how my mother raised me, making sure that I understood what my purpose was when I got there. Obviously, I knew the task of trying to become a professional athlete, and a good professional athlete in basketball was very difficult, because of that big, age gap and transition. But, my focus was, to always prove not only to the people that were saying that I wasn't a great draft pick at the time, but, for myself, most importantly, that I knew what I was.
Cooper Flagg's going in, about the same age as LeBron. What advice would you give him?
Man, just, obviously things are a lot different now from a perspective of social media, and we're seeing this impact on how social makes people feel. He has to be able to give himself some grace as well. Obviously it's a lot of pressure being the number one pick, going to a situation that, they lost another really good player. So people are expecting him to come in and fill a void. He needs to really just focus on what he can do in his development and give himself grace over a period of time that he has to understand the transition from college to the NBA.
You coached against Cooper Flagg?
I did, quite a bit. He was in my son's, originally the 2025 class, and then he reclassed up. I think it's after his junior year, but I've been coaching against Cooper, since 7th, 8th grade.
And what did you see? When did you see it?
The first thing that jumped out to me right away, he used to wear these, I call it the Patrick Ewing knee pads all the time. And he was a kid. I was like, why does this kid have these knee pads? But his talent level, he always had ball skills, bring the ball up, beat people off the dribble. He was always athletic. The thing that I loved about Cooper, and I told him this in the last Nike EYBL game that I coached against him in, is that he approaches the game the right way. He's never sped up. He's never shot chasing, right? He can impact the game without even having the ball in his hand. How, he defends, how he blocks shots, how he rebounds, how he communicates to his team. So I'm definitely looking for great things for this kid in his career.
But Carmelo came out on a podcast, I think he might have been with Paul George, and he said that Cooper doesn't have the bag. Like, he doesn't have that signature move. And I said, but he does everything else. I mean, he's 17, 18 years of age. I don't expect him to have that signature move right away. Did you see, he can always be a better shooter, deeper shooter, but it feels like he can go inside out, doesn't mind contact, those kind of things. But offensively, what would you suggest he needs to work on?
Just the shooting. Obviously, the NBA is about shooting now. So the consistent shooting, obviously, the three-point line is a little bit deeper than in college. But I would agree with Carmelo. Carmelo actually, Kyan was in that same class. So, we've been seeing each other in the gym for a very long time. But from a perspective, it's important that he understands that he doesn't have to be anybody else but himself. Right. He's like a Swiss Army knife, right? He has so many different things that he can bring to the table. And he just needs to focus on that. He doesn't have a flashy bag, but his flash is his impact.